So we are back with our episode 11 of the Secret to Crack Case Comms webinar series, where today we are with the national winners of L'Oreal Sustainability Challenge. So we'll wait for maybe 2-3 minutes more so that more folks can join. Meanwhile, you can of course share the YouTube or LinkedIn link with your friends as well so that they can also get benefited. I think we should not wait further because I think most of you have already joined. So we can, I think, get it started. So I will just introduce you with the speakers for today. That is Gauravi, Nanda, and Darshan. So they, as I earlier said, are the national winners of last year L'Oreal Sustainability Challenge, and they are from the Bitsom batch of 2024. So I will not take much time because I don't think you want me to speak more. But now that L'Oreal first round result, that is quiz result, is out, I think you guys are excited as we are for the next round. And no one can be better than the national winners of last year to guide you for the next stage. So yeah, over to you, Gauravi, Darshan, and Nanda. Please take it.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining here. And yeah, we are here to help you. Like we also needed help when we were preparing for this challenge. So we also looked up a lot of videos on YouTube and we understood how can we navigate through this. So we got some help, we didn't get some help, but yeah, anyways, I think we believe that you people will benefit from what we have been through and what can you all expect out of this challenge and how can you all ace this or at least give it a chance and give your best to crack this challenge. So over
So,
to you, Gauravi. Yeah.
I just want to, before we start like explaining how we did, I just want to talk a little bit very briefly about the challenge. So this challenge stemmed from Laurier's initiative, which they took like company wide. Like Laurier is a large global conglomerate, so they designed something called Laurier for the future, where as a group they created like sustainability goals which they wanted to achieve. They wanted as a business to be sustainable and have a positive impact in like say all the processes, products that they were manufacturing, and also they wanted like worldwide to have like a sustainability movement takes place. So this challenge was born out like from that. So we were the winners of the seventh edition. Right now, then what we'll do is in our challenge we had two cases. We had a planet case and we had a people case. So our group, that is Green Buzz, we did the planet case, which Darshil is going to show you right now.
Yeah. One second. Let me just upload the planet case study. One second. I think this is the people one. I'll also upload the planet case study. Give me a
So
minute.
while Darshil uploads the planet case, I'll just give you an overview on the planet case. So this planet case was related to Laurier's brand called Garnier. Like everyone knows Garnier. So the thing was that Garnier, it sees itself like, as a Gen Z brand. And it also sees itself as a champion of green beauty. So they wanted to, combine these two things and create awareness between the youth and Gen Z of how they can increase like sustainable practices like in daily lives. So that was basically the overview. Darshan will show you how to
Right.
go about the case now.
Yeah. So this is, I am not sure. Yeah. I think now the case is visible, correct? The planet case study.
Yeah, it's visible.
Great. So as you all can see, one second, I'll just zoom in into this. So, okay, I think it's not visible very clearly, but okay, I have it open. By any way, if we can zoom this a little bit. One second, let me check. Yeah. So, anyways, coming on to the case study, if I'm not wrong, Gauravi and Nanda, I think the results got announced today for the first, like after the quiz round. I think the people who have been qualified. I think they have gotten their
Yeah.
three case studies, I think, which is the product case study, planet case study, and the people's case study. So I would like to just clarify that we had only two case studies, which was people and planet. So we decided to go with the planet case study, and as the presentation is on your screen, so our case study was related to the Garnier brand, which L'Oreal has, and what they wanted us to do was, it was a very simple ask, to be honest. It wasn't very, like, I mean, we had to pick our brains to come to that idea, but all they wanted us to do was how will we inspire and enable the Gen Z, which is the like our generation, to live more sustainably through the right form of awareness. And how is it that we will engage with this sort of audience, that is a Gen Z audience who is willing to take up sustainability, but they don't know how, they don't know what's to be done, and how do we educate people about it. So the deliverables that L'Oreal asked us to do was, they wanted us to cover students from middle school to college. So it's not only for B schools or working professionals, it was right from middle school, which is your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, like onwards, to college, which includes your undergraduation, post graduation, PhD, whatever. So our target segment was defined right then and there, that this is the target segment that they expect us to uh, you know take into consideration. And what we had to do was, we had to educate them about sustainability. We had to engage them into some activities by which they could get more aware, and also enable them. So basically, we had to enable the Gen Z to take one green step towards the activation of that particular sustainability initiative. And hashtag one green step was what the theme was, as to what is that one green step that we'll take to activate that sustainability initiative. So we had to, in the first presentation, what we had to do was, we had to prepare a three-slider deck. And one thing I want to clarify is that L'Oreal is very clear when they say three-slider deck. So don't try to go over and above your three-slider limit. Apart from the thank you and the introduction slide, keep it restricted to 3 slides. And any references that you have, they've said that please give due credit. So anything that you all are taking up from any secondary research, do mention it very clearly. So I think now what we can do is, I'll take them through the three-slider PPT. But before that, Gauravi, Nanda, if you want to add something in this.
I just want to say, like, when you get your case study, which you would have got now, like, please read the case study carefully, go through every single word, every single line. And one good thing that L'Oreal does is, after they release a case study, like, shortly after that, like, in a few days, they conduct a master class, like, where they explain every single case study. So I would highly recommend that at least one person from your group attend that master class, because over there, they will explain what they want, what are they looking for. They'll explain the case to you so that you understand from what perspective to look at it, and they'll also probably give you ideas on, like, what kind of issues to like focus on and what kind of issues to like leave aside. because it's very important to understand that what Laurier as a company sees about uh, about the issues that they want to be raised in the case.
Yeah, just to add on to that, one key aspect for this whole competition is finding which case suits you the best. So for that, you will have to read the all the cases thoroughly and see where you can give a comprehensive solution. For us, we had two tracks, so we went with the planet track because we felt that resonated with us more.
Correct. And yeah, I think we were actually initially open to, I think, both the I think ideas, but we felt that the planet one we were able to solve more in a better way. And also, I think this time they have another track which is a product track. I think it's a very interesting track. I just went through the PDF that was shared by L'Oreal with one of my friends, and they shared it with me. So I think it's a pretty interesting track wherein I think they have to devise a product for men's. I think. Men's beauty, basically something around those lines. So I think this time they have multiple options, but yeah, the more the options, the more trickier it gets. So please go through your the case study or the ask that they are having in that particular PDF very clearly, understand what is required, and only then, like, formulate ideas for maybe all three, but then narrow it down to one, because you cannot be having your like mind in all different three boards. So talking about our first round, which was, I told you, a strictly a three slider solution. So this is how we went about it. Starting off with the first slide, this is what we wanted to bring out. First is our understanding about the mindset that the Gen Z has. Basically, Gen Z included people from the schools and colleges, and we did a comparison of Gen Z versus millennials because we wanted to show how Gen Z are different from the millennials. And here you can see we took some attributes, and on that we did a comparison, because there are multiple factors on which they might be different or similar, like the Gen Z and millennials. But we had to understand what is the attribute which resonates with our challenge, and why is it that we want to mention it over here. So yeah.
Yeah, so the first slide, like Darshil said, was basically your target market. And I just want to say, like, when you get selected, like after this three slider deck you submitted, and say you get selected to the next round, Laurier actually gives you a feedback session. They give you like a feedback on what you could have improved upon in your deck and what you can improve upon in your solution. So the feedback that we got for this slide, I just want to share it with you, is that uh, they like the fact that we put in a lot of research about, like, say, our target market, about Gen Z and all, but they were said this slide is very text heavy and it's like very crowded, and what is it
Correct.
exactly that you're trying to say is not coming out. So I would recommend, if you're making like a three slider, it has to be very crisp, of course, and please, in the boxes above, utilize those and give like your key takeaways, so people who are like reading your slide, they understand at the outset, like, what am I looking at. And also they told us, like, you have so many value attributes, try to reduce those by eliminating some which are, say, not important.
Correct.
Yeah, one key aspect of this slide that I would like to highlight is segmenting and understanding your audience thoroughly. I think that is one thing which helped us, because when we look at Gen Z, like usually what we resonate is the college going student, we resonate with ourselves. One thing that actually helped us is we structured it into school and college going student, and we distinguished their characteristics. So based on which we were able to give an idea which was very unique in comparison uh, to like a generic idea. So, anything you like to add on?
No, I think the first slide, I think it's pretty much clear. And now coming on to the second slide, so here is how we gave the idea. So see, we had only three slides, okay? So first slide you'll talk about your background research or something that you want to show to the uh, people who are actually judging your presentation. But then you don't want to spend more than one slide in that, right? Since you have a three slider limit, you have to jump to the solution right away. And this is what our solution was. The second slide was about our solution. And again, if you can see here, we had thought about uh, an upcycling challenge, an upcycling innovation challenge, actually, which included creativity and also innovation. And if you can see, we have explained this very simply via using icons, PPT icons, basic PPT icons, arrows, so that whoever is looking at this for the first time doesn't have to spend a lot of brain time, because Imagine the number of presentations that a person has to go through in the first round while they're judging a particular set of presentations. So just to simplify our presentation, what we did was we presented it in a visual way. So if you see again here, there's a little less of text, but yeah, I would still say this is a little cluttered, and I'll tell you the reason why in the later on slides. But yeah, this was our idea basically as to how do we plan to bring colleges and schools to take part in an upcycling challenge, and how do we also plan to do one ambassador program for colleges? How do we also plan to do innovation challenges? And how there will be campus winners after let's say 100 schools participate. So how there will be a person who will be a campus winner from each school, and then how they will participate. It was I think the idea was a very comprehensive idea, but I think it had a lot of components to it. As there's an ambassador program, innovation challenge. Now again, this seems a good but idea, but I think when you have to drill down to it, and that is what we were asked to do by our mentors in the mentorship round, as Gauravi mentioned that we received mentorship. So they asked us to drill down on one idea, which again we'll tell you later on what the idea was. But yeah, coming to the second slide, this is what our idea was about, and also we had to present about one green step which we took. So this is a video of our friend or a peer in college, uh, with whom we had collaborated, and since he liked dogs and stray animals, so he had done something for them, and that is what our green step was, because we had built a shelter sort of a thing for dogs and cats, all out
using
of
recycled plastic bottles
recycled
and so
plastic
on. So
bottles.
this video was like a very basic video about like how our friend was going about doing it. So how he was incorporating his love for animals along with sustainability. So it is just a basic video, and we just narrated our whole scheme in that. Like this is how he's doing upcycling, how he cares about animals, and how he combined the love for that.
Right. So this was about that second slide, and now coming to the third slide, it was about the implementation as to how will we create awareness, how will the entire flow of the presentation, sorry, of the competition go, how will we engage people, how will be the experiences shared, how will the challenge grow year on year, and what were the cost implications. So we kept it relatively simple. We spoke about why, we spoke about our target audience, sorry, and then what will we do for that particular target audience, and then how will the evaluation happen as to is the challenge really going to the lens that we expected the challenge to go to. So this was about it. Anything you want to add, Nanda, Bhargavi?
So here also, Darshil, if we used a framework, I think the awareness, interest, engagement,
Yeah,
experience, this
correct,
was a framework which we adopted and we thought it was best suited for it. So we used this, and also we gave like for implementation, what was the costing and all that. So this in the third slide, like we have given once a solution is established in the second slide from insights which come from the first slide. In the third slide, we are just basically talking about how it can be implemented and what will be the journey like of this particular solution that we are providing.
correct,
And this approach I would recommend for you all to do, but of course you all can make your own approach. But also remember that if you are suggesting a solution, you have to clarify on how that solution will be implemented. And like over here we chose to give like the costing and so on. You may or may not do it, but this is what we thought like was important, so we put it.
right. So this is what we thought that this might be important, because financials will might be looked upon by a company like L'Oreal. They'll want to see how much capital they have to invest, and that is why we thought it is a good idea to include some financials. So that is all our first deck was all about. 3 slides, that's it, pretty simple. The idea, the target audience, and how do we plan to, take the challenge going forward. So that is all about
Um,
this. Yeah,
So I just want to like give you a quick summary on what you all can do in the round one, like if you all were to do it. So firstly, we all would recommend that like you keep your content very crisp. Do not make your slides text heavy. Like we have made this mistake over here, like of making text heavy slides, maybe because they liked our solution or they saw potential in it, they selected us. But I would not recommend like so much text on your slides. And also the
correct,
third thing is show it to as many people as you can. Like yeah, it is your deck, you are preparing it, so you understand like what is happening, where you're putting on. But the person who's seeing it, it should make sense for them as well. So catch somebody from college, catch your friends and all, and show them the deck and ask them, is this making sense to you? Tell me which part is not making sense to you, and then go back and like simplify that part. Then the fourth thing is
correct,
like have a key takeaway of on the slide or any section that you're presenting. If you like divide your slide in, every single section should have a key takeaway which is very very visible at the top. Okay. And also, like I said, the first slide should be insights, like on whatever your case is about. Like your insights can be primary research or secondary research. The second slide, this is what I'm recommending, could be your solution, like your main solution, you're presenting it and sketching it out. And your third slide, you're talking about the impact you achieve and the scale you achieve. See, because you have to talk about impact, because Laurier is a large organization. They want to have something to show that, yeah, we are undertaking these activities and we are achieving sustainability. So your solution should be both feasible and it should be impactful towards the goals.
Right.
Yeah,
So
just to
yeah,
add on something. So before we actually go to the presentation, just to give you guys an idea, we had 5 or 6 days time to make this deck, and we spent 4 days just brainstorming. The whole deck was done in one day. So
I
one
think
thing what
on
I
one
would
night.
recommend, yeah, one night actually.
Right.
We started at 6 p.m. and we finished at 6 a.m. So, just to give you an idea, most of the time goes into brainstorming. It's also about how much clarity you have and how much in depth are you going to the idea. So, once we had everything sorted, it was hardly a matter of time wherein we made the deck and videos. So, one thing what I would recommend is you guys should like uh, go in depth with your ideas.
Right. But again, keep some time for feedback from your peers, because I think in the first round we didn't take a lot of feedback, but I think once we came to the semi-finale and the finale round, we actually called people individually. We call them in groups of two or groups of three or individuals, so that their opinions don't get clouded by other. So they gave us a fresh opinion. We didn't make changes then and there. What we did was we made a note of what that person was thinking and what should we implement, what should we not implement, because everyone will give you 10 ideas. You cannot implement all 10 ideas because then your PPT might go haywire. So you have to decide which ideas do you want to implement, what is it that someone is saying and that you want to implement, what is it that is important for your presentation, right? So now let me present to you the final round PPT. I think which I think made us win this. But yeah, so as Gaurav had initially mentioned, this PPT that we had made, we were given feedback on that PPT. That, I mean, sorry, the second PPT and the first PPT as well, that you have to keep as less content as possible. Like we had to literally keep majorly photos or one liners, because that is what the people wanted. Now imagine we had 3 minutes to present our entire deck. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It was a 10 slider deck. We had 3 minutes. So if you calculate like 10 divided by 180, so you have around 18 seconds to present per slide. And imagine if you want to grab someone's attention in that 18 seconds, you cannot have a lot of text, because if they read the text, your entire PPT, I mean, even if they'll read like 1 2 lines, your entire PPT goes, like entire slide goes for a toss. So now coming to this, so if you had seen the first slide, the first deck that we had shown to you all, it had a lot of comparisons, a lot of attributes. What we did here was we kept only 6 attributes, and we also divided, or gave them a bracket. So then we just had three values, and each value had 2 attributes. So it comes down to your 6 attributes. And if you see the first heading, I mean, the first thing that a person reads on the slide is the heading, and that's where people get a lot of idea about what the slide is going to be. Gaurav, if you want to continue this and explain what we.
Yeah, so if you see, like in the first deck, if you all remember, like we had like a lot of attributes. We had like say 10 attributes, and now we just, after our feedback, they told us just narrow it down to attributes that are relevant for this. Don't give us like information from all around the world. So we thought, like, for our solution, these were the three things: motivation for sustainability, sense of community, and individualism. So we expanded those attributes and we tried to keep the slides as simple as possible. And
Right.
of course, there was a 3 minute timer. So I want to say there are three of us. So we gave each one of us like one minute to explain, and like a bunch of slides. So you explain these three slides, whatever. So I think we would also recommend that. So everybody in your team gets a chance to speak, and they are also represented while in the competition.
And just to add on, there was 3 minutes and we had to present like 10 slides. So there's
Yeah.
hardly like
Right.
20 minutes to grab any attention. So if you
20
look at
Yeah.
it,
seconds. Yeah.
we cut down a lot of text so that the main point gets highlighted in each and every slide and the point goes across. And one thing which also helped us, which you will see in the entire deck, is we try to make it into a story rather than just going like this is the point, this is our research. So you will see
Right.
this kind of a transformation from our initial to the final deck.
Yeah. So our initial pages now are like our insights. We are still talking about like what insights are we getting. This is the first slide of the insight. Let's go to the second one. And this slide, if you all see, this is mostly we did primary research. At the bottom we've written our sources. We've done
Right.
primary research, and we also referred to a McKinsey report. So there are two sources right now we have used in the first slide. One is primary and research survey we conducted, and one was a McKinsey report.
Correct.
So let's go to the
Also,
second one. Yeah, sure.
before we move on, I think there's a comment from a person called Hardik. He's asking if is it good to do if is it a good practice to do primary research and add the links, or should we propose insight from ourselves? Now I'll tell you what happens. Okay, even a lot of times, during our college MBA projects, we often, like just give some insights which are generated randomly on the internet or something, and we just write them on the presentation or in the whatever deck you are preparing. But I think what I really loved is that we actually took efforts to do primary research. Now this is the slide where we have shown our primary research. Yeah, this slide, which is our second slide. So here these are actual people whom we have spoken to. We have done a one-on-one conversation, either on call, either on a video call, wherein we have actually spoken to our stakeholders. See, now we wanted to target college and school children. Okay, so who become your stakeholders? So we wanted to understand if sustainability is a practice that is followed in a particular school or in a particular college or not. And for that, we spoke to school children. Obviously, we also spoke to principals and admin, and we also spoke to teachers, and we also spoke to parents, because parents are the ones who usually for when you're in your school, they are the ones who are involved in your day-to-day activities, and they're aware about what happens with your daily schedules and all. So we thought that we'll take some insights from parents, some from principals, and some from teachers. And also there was one person who was an educationist who was a contact. So we also took her feedback, and we found that rural schools do not have the resources to take up sustainability. So this is what the power of primary research is. Okay. uh, it gives you real life insights which you could not have thought. So this opens your spectrum of thinking, and then you can think in that particular direction in a much better way than you would have if you had just given some random insights from your own, like mind, whatever you felt or whatever you knew. I
And
think Nanda and Gaurav would agree. Yeah.
yeah, and
But
like Darshil said, like these insights, it was not just us, like it was all the groups, they had found out insights. Okay. So this is
right,
across like all the groups that they had like a combination of insights. And over here, like you notice, like our target market was Gen Z and school children and middle school children. But implicitly, the stakeholders which influence these target audience is like, your principals, your teachers, your parents. So try to think like one level beyond what they are obviously asking you, and see what are the influences that come into play.
Just one thing which I learned the hard way participating in many case competitions is that it's not always about just giving a primary survey. It's more about
right,
getting the hypothesis right. So when you actually go to case competition, here it was Gen Z, and we were asked to deep dive into the school idea. So when we were asked to deep dive onto this particular idea, what we particularly did was who are the experts in this case. Of course, we can't talk to immediate children who are near us or their parents, but who are the real experts? It's the parents, it's the teachers. So we need to involve a multiple of stakeholders. So a lot of the process is about getting your hypothesis right and using a primary survey just to support it. So in case if you don't get that hypothesis right, like even L'Oreal knows what is the right hypothesis or which is closer to the hypothesis. So what you have to do is you have to get your hypothesis right, and primary survey is good to back that up.
correct. So here, if you see the first line, it kind of is our hypothesis that stakeholders welcome the corporate and school-driven sustainability initiatives, provided that they don't disrupt academics or become a cost burden. So now, if I have to just briefly talk about this particular statement, what it means is that schools are very much open to corporate partnerships, and even parents are okay with children taking part in such initiatives, but it shouldn't be like a very cost heavy thing. Like if you're doing sustainability, it shouldn't involve you spending like 1,000 rupees just to, let's say, buy something and then using it for your project. So parents just feel that they already are spending a lot on their school fees, a lot on their science projects. So why does this have to be an added cost? So parents feel like if my child is learning, it's good, but again, it shouldn't be like a cost burden, because India, again, coming from a middle class family, people cannot afford all sorts of expenses when it comes to your science project, schools or whatever, quizzes and all. And even principals were okay with a corporate partnership, but they were like, there are no corporates that approach us for sustainability initiatives. Like you would have seen, there are a lot of science quizzes that happen, which have sponsors. Like let's say, I think your Bonvita
Tata.
does some,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
Tata Bonvita does a lot of companies who do that for your science quizzes or your Olympiad or something like that. But for sustainability, there was no one. So that's why we felt, what if we inculcate something like this? And that is what L'Oreal also liked. So coming to the, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and they also like this slide design. So what we have tried to do in the 10 slider deck, because there are a lot of slides which we have to tackle, we've tried to make every single slide slightly different from the other, or like vastly different. Like we've tried to explore like different graphics and so on. So that is what our aim is, and I hope you all will also do that, because 10 slides, if someone has to see like back to back to back, you don't want to bore them. You want to give them something new to see in every single slide. And yeah, Nanda, go ahead. You wanted to share something.
Let's just go back to the previous.
Yeah, one second. I'll go back to this slide. Yeah,
Yeah. Just to give you a context, like what this primary interviews helped us do is it actually helped us get a target market for our idea. So we initially we cannot go across all the schools. Of course, L'Oreal has limited resources. One thing which you will see in our deck is you will see a separate slide on the target market, and having an educationalist who works with, let's say, the rural segment actually gave us that insight that we need to target, that is our urban centers first, and then we can focus on further expansion.
correct.
So
Also, if you can,
yeah.
yeah, go
So
ahead, go
getting
ahead.
the nuances in your insights is also good, and keeping them realistic is also good. You don't want to say, yeah, all schools are ready to do it. It is not true. And Laurier also wants to see like there is some real reality in this.
Right, correct. Now coming on to the slide flow or the presentation flow. If you can see here, this was the first slide. Like after our introductory slide, this was the first slide wherein we gave an insight about Gen Z, which we got from somewhat primary insight and somewhat from secondary insights. If you can see, there is a source mentioned below. So those were our secondary and primary insights. Then we focused only on primary insights because we wanted to tell about our experience interacting with stakeholders. Uh, yeah, and then now in the third slide, since we didn't want to waste a lot of time on giving extra information in the start, we thought we'll come to the main idea, which is we have drilled down to this idea. Like if you had seen our three-sided deck, there was multiple ideas. There was a college participating, school participating. There was something called as campus ambassador. So a lot of things that were going on in that particular slides in the three-sided deck. But now we, after our interactions with the L'Oreal team and the mentorship team, they told us to stick to one solution and focus on one. So instead of going in the width of things, we are asked to go in the depth of things, and that is what helped us concentrate or structure our thoughts basically. And our idea was the most sustainable school competition, which is basically your each school, like whoever will be participating in the competition, will fight to become, or not fight, I mean will compete to become the most sustainable school. You all want to add
Just
anything
to
about
give,
this idea? Nanda? Go ahead.
yeah, just one thing I wanted to add. When we initially came to the idea, the school was separate because when we looked at, let us say, the college going student, we are more self motivated. Like people who are watching this video, we are all self motivated to like participate in competitions and everything. Whereas when you go for schools, we brought it up as a separate idea because you need like some kind of a director who's directing the whole piece. So that is where schools came and it became a collective thing. That's how our idea evolved into one. Like one of the ideas was the most sustainable school challenge. So from there we expanded this further into our main idea. So just to give you an insight as to how we came to this idea.
And over here, like you see the photo on the left hand side, that is basically we used AI. That time like Wally, what did we use? Sorry,
Dali,
Dali.
Dali.
Dali was really blowing up. So like we thought like we'll give a few prompts and see what comes up. So we liked what we did. So like try to explore like different tools. Now the AI is like become even better. So that's what we did. We gave them a prompt and they gave us like this AI generated image.
Correct. So that was about the idea. And yeah. So again, here if you see, we used the image which shows as to what the competition is about, which is India's most sustainable school challenge. And then we showed potential impact on the right. So wherein we simply had just three sentences: 2 lakh plus students inspired, 50 plus whatever we had, and then we had about the stakeholder benefit. So why will a school benefit? Why will a student benefit? And why will L'Oreal in general as a company benefit? So it was a very simple presentation of our idea and what potential impact will it have, and also why will and how will each stakeholder benefit. So then coming to the next slide, the fourth slide, I think Gaurav, you can take this up about the
Okay, so
storyboarding thing. Yeah,
okay, so this slide was created like a few hours before submission because we just wanted to show the fact that there is an emotional connection also which happens, and we created a storyboard because like I said, we wanted to create a different graphic for every slide. Okay, we wanted to show in this particular slide is why would children like really take on this challenge, and once they take on, like what is the impact that it can create. So I'll just take you through the storyboard. Again, here we've used AI generated images. So like our solution is creating the most sustainable school challenge. So for that, we need every individual student to do something sustainable. So what we showed over here is that a student will take like go over and above and take like sustainability initiatives which will earn them like say a prize or recognition in their school. Then the second image shows that when they receive that recognition, they themselves will be so proud of themselves and they'll be happy that they have helped the school win this award. And it will also impact the children in around them, so it will inspire children around them to take up sustainable causes, so that like again they can win prizes, they can help their school, and also because it is good for the environment. The third image, which shows two ladies talking, it shows that once a child picks up sustainability practices in their school, they take those ideas home and then they influence their parents to like start sustainable practices at home. So over here they're talking about waste segregation, which say maybe the household did not do, but because the child learned about this in school, they have started doing it. The fourth image talks about how like a community of children, like collectively kids are coming together and like implementing sustainability in their locality. So these are like through this storyboard we wanted to show firstly like the real world impact at like say like an individual level, and then at a community level, at a household level, like how can this impact be achieved through like tapping into things like concern for the environment, like and even emotional pull that you have, like to achieve something, to do better, to win accolades for your school, and to obviously have like sustainability practices.
right.
So
I think
just
you
to
can
say
mention.
this,
Yeah, hmm.
yeah,
Go ahead,
this
go ahead.
slide came across because of one of our semi-final question, what's in it for L'Oreal. So the main idea was the children who participate in this become sustainability advocates. So we wanted to showcase that through with the help of a story. So that is why we came to this particular slide.
Correct. So what we wanted to show is that since L'Oreal is doing this competition in one school, that particular school's student will go and talk about this challenge, or this girl in this particular case, her mother will also go and talk to another parent that this is happening in my school, like my child's school, and this is being done by L'Oreal. So basically, that brand recall, the good word of mouth will basically happen. So this is our target segment. I think Nanda, there's no a better person than Nanda Kishore to explain this slide.
Okay, so basically, initially when we did the survey, we said that we got a primary insight saying that rural schools don't have the necessary resources to do that. That was our primary insight. So, what we did was we divided it into two categories. One is the capabilities of the school and the number of students who are interested in sustainability practices. This whole slide was derived from our primary insight, and we made this on the globe. Basically, when we just look at this, we can see that as the capabilities of the school increases, the number of students are also interested and they have more resources. Whereas if you go more towards the left hand side, you see that they don't lack the resources nor the interest. So this basically was, we decided our target segment should be the right hand corner and it should expand towards the left hand corner. And what numbers you're seeing is just a guesstimate based on, let's say, the government data. So one thing what I would
No,
recommend is whenever you do a primary or secondary research, represent it in a way which is slightly different from what you see online. So basically, if you just take the information, the same information is available with 100 people. How you represent and make insights out of that particular information and how you showcase it is often something that distinguishes you. So what you can do is try to represent the data, collate it, and try to showcase how it highlights your main idea. That is, we need to start with self-sufficient private schools in metros and later expand it to tier 1 and tier 2 cities.
correct.
And this graphic, it also helped the people who are listening, like the judges, visualize like how is this challenge going to pan out. If we actually implement this challenge, we have to start with private schools and international schools and schools with institutional networks, then schools which are in metro. So they got these three things. This is how you start the challenge. So once you give them like something, which is feasible to do, as we try to do in this slide, then they can warm up to your idea more that yeah, this is actually achieving an impact.
Right. So this is a good targeting that we did, and again, as Nanda mentioned, in a very innovative way. This is very easy to understand, easy to read. Someone can actually understand as to what is our target segment by just the three ticks that we have put, which is private schools in metros, institutional networks, and private international schools. So that shows that okay, these are our private. These are our target segments.
Yeah, and this graph, I think Nanda, like he got basically came up with it on his own. Like he must have seen, of course, like graphs for reference and all, but this was his idea. Like we'll do something, we'll show it represented this way. So I would really urge you all to use your creativity and like explore like how can you use it in this way. Please do not use like cookie cutter. Like okay, I have this, I've seen this framework somewhere, so I'll just put the framework here. Just try to be innovative and trust like your instincts of how you can represent it, as long as it makes rational sense and like a person can understand what you're seeing.
I think this was made in Excel or PowerPoint, right? As far as I can remember, we
Yeah, I
just
think
made it in Excel.
it was just PowerPoint, and then we use Excel for the numbers
Yeah,
to help people
yeah,
narrow it down.
right. Yeah, again, talking about this slide, this was also based on our primary interviews, stating that we need to consider the academic calendar when we make such a competition. So, what we basically did was we made it into three phases. One is wherein we actually reach out to the schools. That is, schools are generally like the teachers or the admin, they are relatively free in April to June. So, we'll go and reach out to them in that particular period. And then the actual challenge happens between July to October. And right after the first term ends during November, we will like announce the results. So this was basically we visualized the academic calendar, and we also talked about this kind of a calendar with, let's say, teachers, principals, and everybody else.
So here what we are doing, we are talking about the insights which we got in like the earlier part of the presentation, slide 1 and 2. And when we give our solution, we are marrying those insights, we're combining those insights and presenting it in a solution. So it knows like our solution is not like standalone in the air, it is coming from some insights. And that is something like the L'Oreal mentors, they appreciated the fact that we were tying up whatever insights we were collecting to our solution that we were presenting. So there is like coherence in the solution that you're providing.
Right. Coming to the next slide, one second. Yeah. We just quickly move to the presentation so that we can take some questions at the end. Now, again, Nanda,
So
you can explain this. Yeah.
yeah, so this was basically an implementation slide. If Laurier had to do this challenge, if they had to implement our solution, what were the nitty gritties that they would have to do? So we told them, like, you will have to register on a competition portal, such as, say, Unstop. Then you will have to create a dashboard for tracking activities, tracking the participation. Then the third thing is, like, you will have to set up challenges and events to guide the schools, like, what are the activities you can do to qualify for our solution. And the fourth one was obviously reward the top performing schools and students. So this was just a way for us to flesh out, like, if we are going to implement the solution, what are the things that L'Oreal should take care of. And this also helps, like, again, like I said, helps the judges visualize like this solution is, say, feasible, this is impactful, because this is what you want to try to convince them, like through your deck and through your solution, that whatever I am proposing, it is aligned with firstly L'Oreal's objective, and it is going to create that impact, it's going to create like awareness on a large scale about sustainability.
Right. Coming to the next. So again, here, if you see, it was a simple funnel which we used to explain how will. So here we wanted to show how will L'Oreal's engagement with the schools differ. Okay. So as Gauravi mentioned that there are limited resources which L'Oreal has. So let's say if 100 schools participate in a particular year in that particular competition, out of them, L'Oreal will initially just give some resources so that those schools can, just take the first step. However, let's say out of 100, 20 might drop off or might not, take that a lot of initiatives. Then there will be 80 people who will be left. For those 80 people, L'Oreal will give them some virtual sessions wherein they'll be just interacting, solving their doubts, giving them ideas about how can they do a bit more for the challenge. Then coming to the sustainability adopters, which is 30% or 30 schools, let's say, which remain. For them, L'Oreal will give them on-campus session, because let's say out of 100, L'Oreal can go to 30 schools at least, using like with different set of employees, or with taking help from other people, and then they can go and have on-campus sessions. And for the last 10%, who are the top performers, so your funnel basically goes like becomes smaller, because first there will be schools that will be registered, like they'll just register for the sake of it. Then there will be only 80 schools which will take that one green step within their school. Out of that, 30 will be the ones who will be doing one external event for the community, and only 10 will be such who will be change makers, who will bring out that change on a larger scale. And for them, L'Oreal will give them a hands-on approach with a boot camp or career workshop sort of a thing. So again, this is just we wanted to prove that how will L'Oreal engage with different schools, and
Yeah, we
how will
wanted
the
to show them
competition
the
progress here.
roadmap of like what are the
Right.
different levels of engagement that you can do. And also, I want to point out, like Darshil rightly explained this slide. There's also you can see hashtag educate, hashtag enable. There's a probably a hashtag engage also somewhere. So this hashtag enable, educate, engage. These were the hashtags which were there in the original case. Okay, so we to remember those hashtags and we got them here because we also wanted to show like y'all had asked us. This was your ask. Your ask was to ensure that there's education, enablement, engagement happening. Our solution is addressing those. So like I said before, also read the case carefully, see what are the lines that you can pick up and show
Right.
them where they are coming in your solution. Like how am I implementing what L'Oreal has asked me in my solution? And that has to come clearly. Okay, it has to, the judges should see like this is educate, enable, engage. This is there in the solution.
Yeah, hashtag enable, hashtag educate was there in the slide. I mean the problem statement that was shared with us initially. So we used those keywords, and that's how we came to this, hashtags. Now coming to this, this is a very simple slide. This is just about how do we plan to scale this challenge. So initially we cannot have like multiple thousands of schools participating in the challenge. We'll only have 100 schools which will participate in the first edition, which we had then told them that we'll have it in 2024 because this is last year's PPT. Then we'll have the second year, which will be around 200 schools will participate. Then there will be 500, and then there will be 1,500. So if you see, I think even this year there is an ask about a 5-year roadmap in one of the problem statements which I was going through. I mean, it was either in product, people, or planet. I'm not very sure, but yeah, they want some scaling, or they want to know how will the challenge scale, or how will the idea scale up to a larger, target group. And what we told them that in the first two editions, it will be a pilot phase. Later on, it will be a fully fledged competition that will be open to schools in tier one and metro cities. There will also be paid interns from schools and colleges who will come and help L'Oreal, because to cater to 1,500 schools, it gets a little tricky for L'Oreal with the resources and the manpower they might have. So again, we thought we'll have full-time employees and paid interns will both collaborate and work. And also the last thing was how we'll divide schools into regions, let's say north of India, like South India, West India, and that way we can divide, and that's how we can just fragment the school so that the division becomes better, judging them becomes easier, and then we can have like a proper structure to the competition.
And also like this slide again, it helps you helps the judges realize like this solution is feasible, that this solution can be implemented in the
Right.
first year this impact, then second year this, third year so on and so forth. Okay, so this is what we try to show again, like how will this solution scale up, because again like I said before also, you have to remember L'Oreal is a large organization. They would not really want to do something on a small scale or which has like micro impact which nobody like resonates with or not many people see it. So you have to show like your solution, how is it scaling up, how is it creating that impact. So this is what
Correct.
we try to do with this visual.
Correct. And this is our last slide about, see, now when you talk about the future of the competition, you also have to see if it is feasible or not. And so for that, we have to track your certain metrics, which are, let's say, year-on-year increase in participating souls, then the number of communities that were empowered by this challenge, number of tons of waste that was recycled, the number of, I mean, the NPS score, or the participant satisfaction score. So that was about tracking the success of this challenge. And also in future, we can take this at a global level. So if you know the other challenge of L'Oreal, which is a L'Oreal Brandstorm challenge, it is on a global level, wherein again I have to mention this because Bitstorm's own team won that Brandstorm challenge, and then they went to the finale round in I think UK. Yeah, it was in UK. So again, even we expected them to take this challenge to also a global level because even sustainability is on the rise right now, and they can then open a sustainability center. They can also set up art displays in public places and all. So this is what our idea was about the competition going ahead. So, if you have to ask me about the flow, so what we did was, you have to prepare notes in your, let's say, you can use those sticky notes. So what we did was we had sticky notes, we stuck them on the wall. We actually planned as to what will slide one have, what will slide two have, and don't fix your thoughts on that. You can obviously interchange and mix and match because your thoughts will keep on changing, and the final deck will be ready only after like lots of brainstorming. So it is always good to make notes, write down things that people are telling you, write down things that mentors have told you, and then you have to decide what will the flow be like. So if you see, our flow was about how the idea, I mean, what is the idea about, which is about targeting our school children and college children, then primary insights, then we came out the actual idea about the competition. Then we spoke about the competition, how will it benefit the stakeholders, how will we scale it up, how will we plan the future of this competition, whom will we target. So that there has to be a flow. It cannot be haywire, like you first present the idea then come to the primary research. So always decide a flow, whichever flow works best for you, your team. I think you can go ahead with that, but it should make sense to the person who is looking at your presentation.
Nanda, do you
If you
want
want to add,
anything
yeah.
to add in this?
No, I think the shield summed it up pretty well.
Okay, so I just want to give like a 10 slider for this round. What summary is there? So the first thing is insights, primary and secondary. In primary, do approach stakeholders that are important for your solution. Then also be very clear on who are the stakeholders and what is the benefit and impact on each and every stakeholder. After that is like your transcript speech. Like if you go to the final rounds, you will have to speak for 3 minutes. Your transcript speech should match, and it should be firstly very crystal clear, and second, it should match to what is happening in your slide. It cannot be that you are talking about something and then on the slide it is showing something. No, like if I am talking about sustainability in schools and colleges, the slide should show sustainability in schools and colleges and not something else. Then another thing what I want to talk about, every slide try to have different content, a different style of graphics, so it will keep the reader, the viewer also very engaged in your slide. Then the next thing is focus on impact and scale. Laurier is a large organization, they want to see impact, they want to see scale. After that is ask as many trusted people you can to, like, review your slide, review your deck, review your transcript, and take their feedback. You did not incorporate everything, but try to understand what are they seeing through their eyes, so you can understand the perspective of the person who is listening to you. The second after that is, see, Laurier is a company about beauty, cosmetics, and also keep your slides simple, keep your slides beautiful. You do not need that much text, as long as they are appealing to look at and they get your point through in a very crisp manner. I think you're good to go. Another thing I want to mention, like about our team in general, like I think to the credit of all three of us, we kept our ego aside and we were like, very welcome to alternate ideas. Like, of course, we had a lot of clashes in ideas, like throughout, like the rounds, we had differing opinions. Like all of us, we really wanted to say that, like, this is my idea, I have researched about it, like try to do it. But at the end of the day, what we tried to do is like we try to have the best possible team submission, and that entailed that, like, we give the other person's idea a very honest hearing, and if it is better than the idea I was presenting, like we kept our ego aside and we incorporated it. So please, when you're working in teams of three, please like do that. And after that I
uh,
want to say, like, yeah, go ahead.
no, no, please, say that.
So then, like, after that, I want to say is like brainstorm potential questions that people can ask you in your Q&A. So this is relevant like in round 2 and round 3. After you do your submission, after you say your 3 minutes, there will be a Q&A session. So before that only, please try and preempt what questions you're asking. One part of it is the presentation, like you are presenting your deck, you are talking, but after that they'll ask you questions also. So you have to be convincing in that part as well. So try to, like, be very clear about what is your solution, what is your deck, and what are the potential questions that they can ask you, and prepare your answers beforehand. And the last thing I want to say, like, have fun, be original. You are in college, like, you should be trying, like, this is like the best period of your life. You should be trying, like, new things, original things. Don't go for a cookie cut approach, like somebody has done this and they won the competition, or maybe for their year, for their case, that solution was appropriate, that approach was appropriate. Do not try to copy it blindly. Trust yourself, do some research, and like be original. So yeah, this is
Uh,
all I wanted to summarize. I should go ahead.
Great pep talk by Gauravi. Thank you for that. Okay, I think we have some questions here. This is just one person who's asked a couple of questions. So I think the first question is about okay, there are two questions. Okay, so one is about we as an engineer background focus more on. So it is up to you as to what. Okay, yeah. So it is about you as to what you want to focus more on. So always innovation and creativity is preferred by whoever the judge is, because the judge, or the panel that will be judging you, they will want to see what new things you are doing. And also if you are building upon any idea that is already being done or already being, because see, there are two types of startups. Okay, one is they are building or they are improving things that are already present. So let's say if there was let's say, I mean, just saying that there was a manually driven car, they made an automatic car. That doesn't mean that they brought something completely out of the blue. They just innovated something that was already existing. So there can be two, and another ideas can be completely out of the box, someone coming up with completely a new thing which no one has thought of. So it is up to you which idea do you feel you want to go with. Every idea is unique. It's just how you present it and how much detailed research and how much detailed context are you giving to that particular idea. Like if you're let's say this competition that we thought of, like the most sustainable school competition, we could have just simply said it that this is an idea, this is what it is, but we actually went very deep into this idea and we researched as to what can be the aspects of it, how can we stream this, how can we envision this in the long run, how can we plan that this idea stays permanent and this becomes a thing of the future, that people will actually look forward to this competition. So there is a possibility that someone would have thought of this idea, but maybe at a low level or a small local level. We plan to take it to a national or an international level. So that is where your thought process comes into picture, and it's up to I leave it totally up to you as to what do you want to uh, bring out, because I think their product challenge, which is like the product track which is there for L'Oreal this year, it has asked you to innovate a new product completely. So for that, I think it is obvious that you need to make something of your own, or you can innovate on something that is already existing, but you have to think creatively to make a new product, because that is the thing that they want in their product case track. For the planet case track, it depends what the idea is. If you can build on something that is already there or something that is completely new, your choice. And the second question that this guy has is about
That's
should there
Hardik's
be
question. Yeah.
difference? Yeah, 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 that one only. That so see, our challenge with the first submission was it was a three slider submission. Okay, so for a three slider submission, you cannot have a lot of visuals and you cannot keep it very blank. So we had to uh, put in a little bit more content, uh, so that whoever is looking at the presentation can actually understand the presentation. But when we had 10 slides, we decided that we can actually reduce content because we only had 3 minutes to present. So it depends on how your submission is. If you're just having, let's say, a two slider, three slider submission, then it is okay to have a little bit of more text. But maybe when they have explicitly told you, like they did to us, they told us in the mentorship session that you need to have very limited content, make it more visually appealing. So you have to take notes of whatever these people are saying, your mentorship sessions. You have to be very attentive to that session.
See, it's also
Anything that you
about
want to
it's
add? Yeah.
also about what makes it attractive. Like it should be eye catching to whoever is looking at it, or even looking at it during a presentation. Are you able to grab the attention? Are you able to showcase what idea you're showcasing it? And adding to the previous question, I would just say it's about, is it appropriate for this particular case study? Should you use an idea or should you do an innovative one? It should be more appropriate, and at the same time, it should be slightly unique and having a larger impact. So that is what counts.
Right. Any more questions if someone has, please, in the chat box you can put it. And apart from that, I think yeah, I think we are right on time. Just a last couple of words from mine that obviously, as Gaurav has already mentioned this, working with three people, it's gonna be tricky. It's not gonna be easy for sure because the competition, no, it won't be like a one big thing. It will maybe last for the like each round might last for 10 days, 2 weeks, whatever, depending on what their timeline is. So in that time, you firstly do not have to give up, and also you do not have to sit and brainstorm everything all at once. Each slide you can take half a day to actually brainstorm. You can actually take a lot of time to brainstorm whatever you want, but just don't get overburdened and tired by your thinking. So all three of us had different ways to take breaks or relax our mind. So let's say if I used to go on a walk, maybe Gauravi, went for a chai break or had tea, whatever she felt like. Uh, then Nanda, I think maybe he also went for a walk or maybe had listened to music. So just keep taking breaks, do things that will relax your mind. And often there were heated, I would say, debates or discussions among the three of us because everyone had different point of views. Okay, so at that time, you have to keep all those ideas, like collect all those ideas, give some thought, go back individually to your own rooms or your own dorms or wherever, like, just stay alone in this. Think if this is actually making sense. Should you consider the other person's idea? And you have to decide what is it that will make the most impact. So if you have three ideas, you have to decide and you have to be very open about it. Okay. You do not have to be biased about your own idea. You have to be open to everyone's idea. So just keep that openness among the team, and whatever it is, just discuss it with the teammates. So it can be you might be wrong, it can be 1v2, it can be 1v1, it can be 3v0 in some cases where everyone is just agreeing on one point. So yeah, it can be anything. So just just don't tire yourself too much. Take breaks and just regroup because that actually helps in refreshing your thinking capacity. So yeah, that's all from my end. Nanda, if you want to add anything, or we
I think you guys did a good job in giving a pep talk.
yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. I think it was a gross and wholesome presentation. Viewers, if you have any questions, I think this is the last chance to ask them. They have already explained all the questions which are there in the chat box very well. I'm just showing all the comments one by one as well because there are some appreciations as well in the comments. So that yes, you can just go through it.
So that yeah.
Yeah, so most of them are just the appreciation. I think you have already explained it so well that people don't have any question. Maybe they might have some questions once they have read the case. They must have researched because today only the case were out, so they will be having some questions. And in that case, of course, they can put it on the community which is there on the Bschool community. Okay, and then of course we can pass those questions to you, and then you can answer them in your free time. So
Right.
I'm just keeping the questions one by one. I think you have already answered all the questions, but in case any one of you wants to add on anything to any question, just please feel free.
Yeah, and I think if you upload this video on YouTube, I think we can answer questions in the comment section as well when we have some time. So people can even do that. We are there on LinkedIn, so they can reach out to us on LinkedIn as well. So, yeah,
Definitely, definitely.
great. And I think yeah, thank you for hosting this. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So for the
Thank you
viewers,
so
I think
much.
there are no more questions. I will just tell you about the B School buddies as well. So of course, if you're preparing for case competitions or anything related to MBA, then B School buddies can be a one-stop solution. So we provide specific guidance for the case competition, one-to-one mentorship with the mentors. We will talk to these three speakers as well, and we will try to open some slots if they have for the one-to-one mentorship as well. And of course, there are some sector-specific and case competition-specific webinars just like this one. So,
Yeah.
and you can of course join this community if in case you have some questions, you have anything to ask, you can just join this community and you can pass on the questions, and we'll pass this on to the speakers. So I think again we have already shoot up the time, and they were very kind to actually give a time on weekday evening. I think today also they must have fed up in the office, and tomorrow also they need to go to office, and again the same flow will go. So yeah, thank you so much, Gauravi, Darshil, and Nanda. Nanda has to drop off, and of course, taking a time out of your busy schedule must have been difficult. But yeah, you did it for the benefit of the viewers. Yeah, so thank you so much, and of course, we at B School Buddies are really thankful to you as a community. And of course, we will keep reaching out to you as a community, and if there will be anything contribute, of course we will
Okay.
do
Thank you so much for having
Sure,
us and
sure. Yeah.
letting us share our
Yeah.
insights. It was great, like, revisiting our college days. So thank you so much for that.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
great viewers. Thank you so much.